There's a photograph on my parents' mantelpiece, taken in 1988. My dad is standing in front of their first house, a modest three-bedroom split level. He was 28, working as a junior manager at a manufacturing plant, earning about $35,000 a year. The house cost him $85,000, roughly two and a half times his salary. They had one car, my mom stayed home, and they still managed to save a little every month. This wasn't a story of incredible wealth. It was the simple, achievable architecture of the American middle class. That architecture was built on a foundation of unwritten promises. In 1985, the path was clear. A young man, let's call him David, could secure a mortgage for a home like that one with a 20% down payment of $17,000. This sum was achievable through a few years of disciplined saving. His monthly mortgage payment, even with interest rates hovering around 11%, would have been approximately $810. On a post-tax monthly income of about $2,300, this represented a significant but manageable 35% of his earnings. This predictable ratio between labor and shelter was the core mechanic of the system, and it created a profound sense of psychological security. Life was not a tightrope walk over a chasm of debt. David didn't lie awake at 3 a.m. running a frantic mental calculus of bills versus his checking account balance. Instead, his thoughts could turn to simpler things, whether to plant a maple or an oak tree in the front yard, or planning a summer road trip. This emotional piece was the true, unlisted benefit of the old middle-class contract. The career that funded this life followed an equally predictable path. David started in an entry-level position. He simply had to show up, work diligently, and demonstrate loyalty. Each promotion came with a predictable salary increase, a tangible reward for time and effort. A pension was not an abstract concept, but a concrete promise of a dignified retirement funded by his employer. The consequence of this linear progression was a life that unfolded in neatly organized stages. The starter home at 28 was replaced by a larger four-bedroom house at 38. The cost of having a second child was absorbed by his latest raise. This wasn't luck. It was the direct, foreseeable outcome of a system designed to convert loyalty and hard work into compounding financial stability. The game board was fair, and the rules were clear. Now, let the warm, grainy light of that 1988 photograph fade. Let's shift our focus to today, to a man we'll call Michael. He's 42, a graphic designer with a good job. He and his wife, a teacher, have a combined household income of $175,000. By any traditional metric, he is a resounding success. They live in a suburb that looks just like the one in that old photograph. They have 2 kids, 2 cars, and a mountain of quiet desperation they never speak about. Michael feels like a fraud. He looks at his life, the nice house, the impressive salary, and feels a profound sense of instability, like he's constantly one bad month away from it all collapsing. He sees his parents' retirement, funded by a pension and Social Security, and feels a wave of envy so sharp it feels like grief. He's doing everything right, earning more than his father ever did, yet he feels poorer, more precarious, and perpetually exhausted from the effort of just treading water. Let's look at their numbers, because the anxiety isn't imaginary. Their $175,000 income sounds like a lot, but after taxes, it's closer to $125,000, or about $10,400 a month. Their mortgage on a $550,000 house is $3,200. Property taxes add another $800. Health insurance, through his employer, is a staggering $1,100 a month for the family. That's $5,100 gone before they've even bought a carton of milk. Then come the other non-negotiables. Student loan payments for 2 master's degrees total $950 a month. Daycare for their youngest child is $1,600. 2 car payments add up to $850. After all of that, they're left with roughly $1,900 a month for groceries, utilities, gas, and any hope of saving for retirement or their kids' college. The margin for error is razor thin. This is the new middle-class trap, a life where you are forced to finance all the pillars of stability with massive amounts of debt. Then, one Tuesday, the low-grade anxiety explodes into acute crisis. It's not a layoff or a market crash. It's a sharp, searing pain in his daughter's side, a trip to the emergency room at 10 p.m. The diagnosis is appendicitis. The words are calm and clinical, but for Michael, they trigger a terror that has nothing to do with the medical procedure itself. As his daughter is wheeled into surgery, he isn't just thinking about her health. He's thinking about his health insurance plan's $8,000 family deductible. The next few hours are a masterclass in the cruel bureaucracy of modern healthcare. He has to confirm with his insurance provider that this hospital is in-network. He's asked to pay a $500 copayment up front. When he asks a hospital administrator what the total cost will be, she explains that it's impossible to say. The surgeon is in-network, but the anesthesiologist might not be. He is navigating a system designed to be incomprehensible in his moment of greatest vulnerability. The surgery is a success. His daughter recovers quickly. For 3 weeks, a fragile sense of relief settles over their house. Then the envelopes begin to arrive. The first is from the hospital for $32,000. The second from the surgeon's group for $7,000. A third from the anesthesiologist for $4,500. A few days later, the explanation of benefits from their insurance company arrives. The final terrifying number is at the bottom of the page. Patient responsibility, $9,250. This number lands with the force of a physical blow. It is the materialization of all their anxieties. Their entire emergency fund, painstakingly saved over 3 years, is just $5,400. The $9,250 bill doesn't just wipe it out. It leaves them $3,850 in the hole. A wave of profound, suffocating hopelessness washes over Michael. He did everything right. He had the good job with the good insurance. He paid his $1,100 monthly premium without fail. And still, one common medical emergency has pushed his family to the brink of financial ruin. Michael's story, this descent from precarious stability into outright crisis, is not an outlier. It is the predictable outcome of a systemic shift. His individual struggle is a symptom of a much larger disease. The problem can be distilled into 3 core squeezes that are slowly strangling the middle class. First is the housing squeeze, where the cost of a basic home has completely detached from local wages, turning shelter into a luxury good. That modest split level from the photograph, once 2.5 times a salary, now costs 6 or 7 times the median income. Second is the debt squeeze, primarily from education and healthcare. Essential services that were once affordable now require taking on life-altering sums that cripple financial progress for decades. The system no longer provides a pathway. It sells you one on credit. Third is the wage and career squeeze. The stable, lifelong employment that once built generational wealth has been replaced by a chaotic scramble across disconnected lily pads. Short-term jobs with stagnant pay, minimal benefits, and the constant threat of restructuring. You are expected to show no loyalty and receive none in return. The ultimate consequence of these converging pressures is a life lived in a state of permanent financial defense. The primary objective is not to get ahead, but simply to survive the next shock without being completely wiped out. For Michael, the medical bill triggers a cascade of consequences that will follow them for years. The hospital's payment plan is inflexible. One missed payment, and the debt is sent to collections. When they inevitably fall behind, the calls begin. Their credit scores, once a source of pride, plummet from the high 700s to the low 600s. Their dream of saving for their kids' college is not just delayed, it is dead. When their car lease expires, the only financing they can get is a subprime loan with a 19% interest rate. Last winter, when the furnace died, the $8,000 replacement cost went on a 401k loan, stealing from their own future to survive the present. The walls of the financial prison close in. One of life's unavoidable misfortunes has become a decade-long sentence of economic servitude. We have confused the artifacts of the middle class with the actual state of being middle class. Owning a home doesn't make you middle class if the mortgage consumes 40% of your income. Having a degree doesn't make you middle class if you'll be paying for it until you're 50. The real definition of a middle class is economic security. It's the ability to absorb a financial shock. It's having a future that feels more expansive than the present. By that definition, the middle class is withering. It's being replaced by what some economists call the precariat, a growing class of people who have the income of the middle class, but the financial fragility of the working poor. This fragility creates a profound psychological split. Outwardly, you project stability. You host the barbecue. You drive the kids to soccer. You post vacation photos on social media. Inwardly, you are a walking spreadsheet of anxieties, constantly calculating, worrying. It's an exhausting, isolating experience because everyone around you is performing the exact same act, haunted by the same sense of failure. The ultimate tragedy is that we've internalized this systemic failure as individual moral failing. We blame ourselves. If only I'd saved more. If only I'd chosen a better career. If only I worked harder. But you can't win a game that is rigged to drain every dollar you make in interest payments and inflated essential costs. The problem isn't the player, it's the game itself. Look again at that photograph from 1988. See the modest house, the single car, the young man full of quiet confidence. Now, imagine a new photo taken today. The house might be the same, but the family inside is drowning in debt to keep it. Both parents work multiple jobs, and the stress is etched onto their faces. The architecture of the American middle class is still standing, but the foundation has crumbled, and the family inside is just trying to survive before the whole thing comes crashing down. The American dream is no longer a shared aspiration, but a relic from a bygone era. An old photograph on the mantelpiece of a house they will never truly own.